Before we begin, pause for a moment. Not to analyze anything, not to judge, simply to notice. Feel the quiet turbulence beneath your thoughts, the subtle background noise you carry every day without even realizing it. The scrolling, the comparing, the small but constant pressure to keep up. The unfinished tasks pulling at your attention. The low-level tension between what you want and what your environment demands. There is motion everywhere, yet somehow a sense that your life is drifting. Most people never recognize this truth. Existing and living are not the same thing. Your body continues automatically, breathing, surviving, reacting, as long as you keep it fed and protected. But a meaningful life does not unfold on autopilot. And if you do not take ownership of your consciousness, something else will take ownership of it for you. Institutions will happily define your priorities. Culture will shape your identity to fit its expectations. The economy will absorb your time and energy without asking whether it aligns with who you are. People, trends, and social pressure will pull your attention toward their agendas, not yours. None of this is malicious. It's simply how systems operate. But if you never claim authorship of your inner world, you become a resource for other people's purposes. A life lived in reaction, not intention. Most believe their overwhelm comes from the world speeding up. But the truth is far more revealing. Life feels chaotic only when the mind is chaotic. You are not designed for scattered attention. You are built for directed consciousness, for alignment, clarity, and depth. Before we continue, anchor your intention. Write in the comments. I choose to direct my mind, not drift through life. Now breathe. Settle. We go deeper from here. Look inward for a moment. Not at your thoughts themselves, but at the space in which your thoughts move. Most people never realize this, but your quality of life is shaped far less by what happens around you and far more by the structure of your inner world. Consciousness is not a passive mirror, it is an active system. It interprets, it filters, it organizes, it gives shape and meaning to every moment you experience, and the force that sculpts it all is attention. Attention decides what becomes important and what fades into background noise. It determines what influences you, what you ignore, what becomes memory, and what forms the foundation of your identity. This is why two people can walk through the same event and walk away with two entirely different lives. Attention doesn't just observe reality, it constructs it. But this internal architecture is fragile. Fear contracts your awareness. Anxiety traps your attention in loops. Shame collapses your sense of self inward. Overthinking fractures your concentration. Frustration scatters your focus in every direction. Your energy drains not because life is hard, but because the mind becomes disorganized trying to process its own disorder. Most exhaustion is not physical. It is structural collapse inside the mind. Flow is the opposite of that collapse. Flow is what happens when your inner architecture becomes whole again. To understand flow, you must first understand the two forces that constantly shape your inner world: psychic entropy and psychic negentropy. Entropy is disorder, the fragmentation of your attention into conflicting impulses, scattered thoughts, and emotional turbulence. It shows up as mental noise, overwhelm, difficulty focusing, conflicting desires, emotional instability, the sense that life is slipping out of your hands. Entropy is not suffering itself. It's the disorganization that makes suffering exhausting. Negentropy is the opposite. It is order, coherence, alignment. Positive emotional states generate negentropy. They don't just feel pleasant. They organize the mind. Confidence stabilizes your awareness. Curiosity widens your focus. Joy integrates your experience. Engagement sharpens your perception. Positive emotions free attention instead of consuming it. This is not motivational talk. It is measurable neuroscience. Entropy drains mental energy. Negentropy releases it. Flow is the highest expression of negentropy, the state in which every part of your mind aligns in a single direction. It is not chaos. It is not luck. It is not random. Flow is your inner world finally functioning as it was meant to. Before the world told you who to be, before responsibility layered over your instincts, before self-consciousness hardened inside you, flow was your natural state. As a child, you were absorbed in play. You explored without fear. You followed curiosity like a compass. You learned with intensity. You created without judgment. You entered deep focus effortlessly. Children experience flow because their attention is not yet fragmented. They are not performing. They are not comparing. They are not seeking validation. They are not avoiding failure. They are not negotiating identity. They are simply present. Adulthood destroys this. The mind becomes divided by expectations, social comparison, responsibilities. Fear of failure over identification with outcomes, inherited beliefs, external agendas. The child's state of natural flow is replaced by managed entropy. The return to flow is not an escape from adulthood. It is a return to psychological truth. Flow is not something you learn. Flow is something you remember. Flow is not magic. It is the brain reorganizing itself with astonishing precision. To understand it, imagine your mind as three interconnected systems. The rider, the prefrontal cortex, handles logic, planning, self-awareness, and analysis. The horse, the limbic system, drives emotion, instinct, motivation, and urgency. The track, the sensory motor networks, governs movement, pattern recognition, and skill execution. In everyday life, the rider overthinks, the horse overreacts, and the track is underused. The mind pulls against itself, creating friction and noise. But in flow, the relationship changes. The rider softens its grip. The horse stops thrashing and becomes responsive. And the track, the part of you built for movement, creation, and skilled action, begins to lead. This shift is known as transient hypofrontality, the temporary quieting of the prefrontal cortex. When this happens and self-criticism fades into the background, the inner narrator loosens its hold. Your sense of time becomes elastic. Awareness sharpens and widens simultaneously. Action feels smoother, faster, more intuitive. Behind the scenes, your brain releases a highly specific neurochemical blend. Dopamine for pattern recognition, norepinephrine for deep focus, serotonin for emotional stability, anandamide for creativity, and endorphins for endurance. Each chemical plays a role, but together they create something far more powerful, a mind that is both calm and intensely alive. Flow is the moment the rider, the horse, and the track stop competing with each other and begin working in perfect unity. This is not luck. This is neuroarchitecture. Before we step into the tunnel of flow, recall a moment you know well. Maybe you were playing your favorite game, Call of Duty, Gears of War, or any world that instantly pulled you inside it. Think back to how everything around you began to fade. The room blurred into the background. You stopped noticing the sounds, the notifications, even your own posture. Your attention narrowed into a single, unbroken line stretching between you and the action unfolding in front of you. Your movements felt effortless, almost inevitable. You weren't strategizing. You were responding. You weren't thinking. You were being. You didn't feel like someone playing a game. You felt like the world inside the game had become your temporary reality. Minutes collapsed. Time dissolved. You were absorbed. That experience, total engagement, is not just entertainment. It is a glimpse into the structure of flow. Now imagine that same narrowing of attention turning inward. The external world softens. Your thoughts settle into alignment as if someone quietly reorganized them from chaos into clarity. Inner noise drops away. Awareness sharpens like a blade drawn clean. In that moment, the mind shifts into a different mode. Not pressured, not fragmented, not reactive, but unified. You feel everything moving through you with an effortless precision. Thought and action merge. Inner conflict disappears. Your sense of self becomes lighter, cleaner, simpler. This is the tunnel of flow, the moment of transition from ordinary consciousness to a state of pure coherence. It's not just clarity, it's identity becoming whole. And flow reveals something beyond even that. It points toward a truth most people never discover. Flow is not a luxury. It is not a mysterious artistic spark. And it is certainly not an accident of psychology. Flow is your mind communicating something essential. Here, pay attention. This is where you align with who you truly are. Whenever you enter flow, you're stepping into the intersection of several deep layers of your nature, your strengths, your curiosity, your preferred kind of challenge, the way your motivation naturally rises, and the unique psychological structure that makes you you. Flow is not random. It appears where the architecture of your mind fits the architecture of the moment. Where flow shows up, there is meaning. It doesn't just feel right. It is right. It is the sensation of your consciousness functioning in full coherence. Most people spend decades searching for purpose as if it were an idea to be discovered, a sentence to be written, a definition to be memorized. But purpose begins long before language. Purpose begins as a felt experience, the quiet certainty that your actions and your inner design have fallen into alignment. You don't think your way into purpose. You feel your way into it. Flow reveals the outline of your potential long before you're able to articulate it. This is why flow doesn't just enhance performance. Flow reveals identity. It is not escape. It is not distraction. It is not indulgence. Flow is who you are when all the unnecessary layers fall away and your mind becomes whole. People often misunderstand flow. They imagine it as spontaneity, inspiration, or random bursts of brilliance, a moment of luck or lightning striking the mind. But flow is not chaos. Flow follows structure. It arises from a mind prepared to meet challenge. And this preparation has a name: discipline. Discipline is what creates the conditions in which flow can appear. It shapes your environment, your habits, and your internal state so that your mind can engage fully. Through discipline, you refine your skills, set clear goals, remove unnecessary distractions, stabilize your emotions, and bring order to your inner world. You create a level of mental clarity that allows absorption to happen naturally. Flow is the reward that follows this preparation. Discipline is the quiet architect behind it. Most people wait for motivation to strike. But autotelic individuals, those who generate meaning from within, don't wait. They engineer environments where flow becomes inevitable. Flow does not come to those who sit still. Flow comes to those who prepare. And here lies the paradox. Only disciplined people are free enough to experience flow regularly, because discipline reduces entropy. Lower entropy creates coherence, and coherence opens the door to flow. A disciplined life isn't a restricted one. It is a life optimized for psychological freedom, a life where your mind is no longer in conflict with itself, but ready to align with the challenges that bring you fully alive. Everything powerful casts a shadow, and flow is no exception. Just as there is genuine flow, the kind that sharpens your mind and aligns you with your potential, there is also false flow, a state that imitates absorption, yet leaves you diminished rather than expanded. False flow shows up in subtle, familiar forms. It can be the hypnotic pull of endless scrolling, the numbing comfort of immersive but empty gaming loops, the compulsive consumption of content, or the constant chase for dopamine hits from quick rewards and hyperstimulation. Sometimes it arrives disguised as productive distraction, tasks that feel busy, focused, or urgent, but require no real skill, challenge, or growth. These states feel absorbing. They quiet the outside world. They pull you inward, but they do not challenge you. They do not grow you. They do not align you with your deeper identity. They offer escape, not expansion. This distinction matters, because when you understand the shadow of flow, you begin to see your own patterns with clarity. True flow expands your identity. False flow erases it. True flow strengthens the mind. False flow numbs it. True flow emerges from challenge and engagement. False flow emerges from avoidance and distraction. True flow leaves you fuller. False flow leaves you emptier. Recognizing this difference protects the integrity of your development. It keeps your path aligned with meaning, not momentary relief. Following flow is powerful. Following false flow is dangerous. A life guided by true flow is not only productive, it is psychologically coherent, deeply fulfilling, and aligned with who you are becoming. Flow is not a fixed state. It evolves as you evolve. As your skills develop, flow changes its texture, its depth, and the way it enters your life. There are 3 psychological stages in this progression, each one revealing a different layer of who you are becoming. 1. The novice flow, the flow of discovery. This is the earliest, lightest form of flow, the flow of beginnings. You feel it when everything is new and curiosity drives you forward. Learning happens quickly, progress feels immediate, and even mistakes feel like part of the adventure. There is a sense of play in this stage, almost like childhood, an effortless excitement where every action feels meaningful simply because it is new. But novice flow doesn't last forever. As your skill increases, the challenge must rise to match it. If it doesn't, flow dissolves. And this is why so many adults feel as though life has flattened out. They stop challenging themselves. The mind stagnates. Entropy rises. Life loses texture. Flow requires evolution. 2. The intermediate flow, the flow of confrontation. At the intermediate stage, flow deepens. You understand the fundamentals now. You have enough skill to build, refine, and express. But you also begin to meet your limitations directly. Progress no longer happens by accident. It requires intention. Mistakes matter. Your discipline, your emotional stability, and even your ego start to shape how far you can go. This is the stage where most people quit. Not because the work becomes too hard, but because the work becomes meaningful. Intermediate flow forces you to confront yourself, your habits, your patterns, your fears, your inconsistency. But if you continue through this stage, you enter the territory few people ever reach. 3. The master's flow. The flow of transformation. This is the deepest layer of flow. At mastery, the experience changes. Flow becomes quieter, more subtle, almost serene. Time doesn't just disappear. Your sense of identity expands with the work. Tasks that once felt complex become intuitive. Creativity emerges automatically without forcing it. Challenges feel like nourishment rather than obstacles. Effort shifts into expression, a seamless translation of intention into action. In the master's flow, your mind and your skill merge. This is the flow of artists, innovators, athletes, researchers, creators, people who have built their lives around a craft, and in doing so, built themselves. Mastery is not a destination, it is a relationship. A relationship with your craft, with your discipline, with your evolving identity. At this level, something remarkable happens. You are no longer using the skill. The skill is using you. It becomes a channel for your potential, a space where you meet the most capable version of yourself. Flow is not just a state you enter, it is a compass that points toward the parts of your life that matter most. Every time you feel flow, your mind is sending you a message. Here, pay attention. This aligns with who you are. But most people miss these signals because they spend so much of their lives in a state of entropy, distracted, fragmented, overwhelmed. They no longer recognize the feeling of alignment when it appears. To notice flow, you must learn to listen for its subtler signs. One of the most reliable is the distortion of time. Moments either race forward or expand outward, and before you realize it, hours have passed as if they were minutes. Flow bends the perception of time because your attention is no longer fragmented. Another sign is the ease of focus. You do not wrestle your mind into concentration. It settles naturally, like water finding its level. You are absorbed rather than disciplined into staying present. Flow also brings a kind of emotional neutrality, not apathy, but a calm, steady engagement. You're neither anxious nor euphoric. You're simply there, fully, without resistance. Your goals also become clearer in flow. Even when nothing is written down, you intuitively know what you're trying to achieve. The next step reveals itself without hesitation. The process forms a continuous feedback loop. Each action encourages the next, and your mind seems to anticipate the path forward before you consciously think it through. There is also a subtle sense of control, not over everything, but over the moment directly in front of you. It feels like you are working with the task, not wrestling against it. And when flow ends, it leaves behind a specific afterglow, a feeling of meaningful fatigue, the quiet satisfaction of having done something that mattered. When you begin to recognize these signs, you gain insight into your psychological design. Flow does not lie. It reveals your natural abilities, your deepest motivations, the environments that energize you, the types of challenge that sharpen you, and the blueprint of your emerging identity. The flow moments scattered across your life are not isolated experiences. They are clues, pointing towards your purpose with remarkable consistency. Purpose is not something you stumble upon. Purpose is something you build, piece by piece, moment by moment, through the choices that align your inner world with the challenges that bring you alive. Flow is the blueprint for that construction. The question is not merely how to experience flow, but how to shape a life around it. 1. Track your flow events. Follow the signals. Every time you enter flow, your mind is revealing something important. To understand these signals, you must record them. Write down what you were doing. Note the emotional state you were in. Notice the level of challenge. Reflect on the environment around you. Pay attention to the sense of satisfaction afterward. Do this consistently, and patterns will emerge. These patterns become a psychological compass, pointing you toward the activities, environments, and challenges that bring out your most capable, most coherent self. 2. Gradually increase time in flow-promoting activities. You don't transform your life overnight. Flow grows with steady attention. Begin with 10 minutes, then 30, then an hour. Then carve out a portion of your week, then a portion of your work, and eventually a portion of your identity. Flow doesn't require perfection, it requires consistency. The steady return to what feels meaningful, even in small increments. 3. Build skills that deepen. Flow becomes richer as your skill increases. The deeper the mastery, the deeper the potential for immersion. Each layer of expertise unlocks a new dimension of flow. This isn't about ego, it's about alignment, shaping your abilities to match the challenges that call you forward. 4. Remove sources of entropy. Protect the mind. Flow cannot survive in a chaotic environment. Entropy, the inner and outer noise that fragments attention, is the enemy of coherence. To protect flow, you must remove what disrupts it. The constant pull of notifications, the clutter of chaotic spaces, the drain of validation seeking, the empty loops of meaningless distraction, the weight of self-judgment, the toxicity of certain social circles, the emotional clutter that fractures inner clarity. A life built around flow demands an ordered mind, not rigid, but stable enough to sustain deep focus. 5. Become autotelic. Generate meaning from within. The autotelic shift is one of the most profound transformations in human psychology. You stop performing for approval. You stop living for external rewards. You stop chasing validation. You begin generating meaning from the inside out. The activity itself becomes fulfilling. The process becomes the reward. The work becomes the expression of your identity. In this state, you are no longer pulled by external agendas. You are propelled by internal coherence. Flow does not make difficulty disappear. It makes difficulty meaningful. 6. Build your life and your work around flow. This is where everything converges. When you organize your habits, your craft, your environment, and eventually your work around what brings you into flow, something extraordinary happens. You stop escaping life and begin participating in it fully. Editing becomes a form of expression. Programming becomes exploration. Training becomes transformation. Writing becomes self-discovery. Leadership becomes clarity. Design becomes precision. Creation becomes identity. Flow does not make life effortless. It makes life alive. It is not entertainment. It is alignment. It is not escape. It is selfhood. The fullest expression of who you are when your mind is undivided and your potential is awake. If you've walked through this journey, you already understand something essential. Your life is not shaped by external events, but by the architecture of your consciousness. Entropy will scatter your attention. Chaos will fragment your identity. The world will try, endlessly, to direct your mind for you. But flow reorganizes everything inside you. Flow gives you clarity. Flow gives you direction. Flow gives you identity. Flow gives you meaning. A life built around flow is not free of difficulty. It is a life where difficulty becomes meaningful, where challenge becomes nourishment, where work becomes expression, where progress becomes fulfillment, and where identity becomes coherent. Take ownership of your attention. Shape your days around what brings you alive. Follow the signals. Build the skills. Protect your mind. Claim your direction. And if this message resonated with you, anchor it by writing in the comments. I choose to direct my mind, not drift through life. Share this with someone who is drifting. You may awaken something they've forgotten, and if you're walking this path of purpose, discipline, and inner science, subscribe, stay close, and continue this journey with me. More lessons await.